Hello, everyone. This is Rose. Today's topic from the Book of Life is Don't Judge the Book by its Cover. Reading its contents might change your perception. The surface doesn't define what is inside. Let's take a look at this short story from the Book of Life. Push, Mom, push, shouts Dr. Gordon. I can see the head. I need for you to give it one more push as hard as possible. Soon after the last push, a soft cry of a baby rings out. The doctor announces, it's a girl. She looks like what Grace feels like. Beautiful, with a glow, states Dr. Gordon. The doctor hands the baby to his nurse. The nurse announced the time of birth, the weight, and prepares the baby for Mom to embrace her fifth child. The mom was moved by the doctor's descriptive statement about her baby girl as she was born. She names her fifth child Grace, based on the doctor's statement. Emma, a single mother of four, gives birth to her fifth child as her longtime partner and father of her children, James, holds her hand. James takes his daughter and holds her up to the stars. God, this child who highly resembles my family appearances from the tribe of Fulani in Cameroon is highly favored of you. Your grace is with her. She is flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. Her spirit will know you and honor you. Her spirit will hear you and worship you in spirit and in truth. She is blessed to be a blessing to many. For this I praise you. Both Grace's parents is from Mississippi. They would often tell stories of growing up as the kid of sharecroppers and having to pick cotton before and after school. Grace's mother, people moved to Mississippi from Arkansas. Her father, people moved to Mississippi from Louisiana. Grace's father, family origin is in Cameroon, Africa. Although Emma and James never married, they both raised their kids to be family-minded by putting family first. They both left their parents' home in Mississippi at the age of 16 to move north for work. Grace's mother found a job in a cleaner's. Her father found a job in a junkyard. That's what they called it back in those days. The junkyard is where metal parts for cars, washing machines, and heaters was refurnished and sold. Grace grew up living in poverty-stricken environments where broken English, now known as Ebonics, is the language of the immigrants. Grace is a quick learner of many skills taught to her. However, she has a lazy tongue which causes difficulties in enunciating words or articulating her thoughts well. Grace did not feel out of place as a child within her community because everyone looked like her and sound like her. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, her mother became an activist. Grace was at the March on Washington in 1963 when her mother told her, just because you are poor and black doesn't mean you are dumb and ignorant. Grace did not understand why her mother told her this. She knew not to question, just listen. She respected what her mother said. She looked up to her mother and admired her mother. She looked up to her with admiration. She highly admired her mother. Those words was something that she listened to and kept with her. The words somehow just pierced the spirit of her soul. She couldn't stop thinking about what was said to her. As an activist, Grace's mother becomes the founder of an organization to help single mothers. Her mother worked with the Black Panther Party to feed inner city school kids breakfast before going to school. Grace's mother was selected as a board member on an inner city community healthcare center. She was one of the activists flown into Washington by the White House when Martin Luther King was assassinated. Grace grew up watching her mother, who did not graduate from high school. Her mother did not graduate from high school, but yet she accomplished all these great things. She looked at how her mother navigated through life helping people. Her mother believed everyone has a right to be treated equal regardless of race, gender, education, or financial status. After graduating high school, Grace found a job working at the airport. She did not think about attending college. It was not discussed in her community. Remember, she was raised in a poverty-stricken environment. So going to college was not a thing that they discussed in her community. After giving birth to her son at the age of 23, Grace begins to look at life differently. She begins to look at the high-rise office buildings with the following questions in her thoughts. What type of work do the people do inside those buildings? How does someone get a job inside one of those buildings? What skills are required to get a job inside one of those buildings? What is the title of those jobs? Grace decided to speak with a counselor at the local trade college near her home. The counselor provided Grace with a list of trades that could help her to get a job in a high-rise office building. Grace did not know which trade to choose. She decided on a trade that worked with numbers. She was a master when it came to numbers. Her best subjects in school were chemistry, algebra, and calculus. After completing trade school, Grace found a job working with a major company who was located throughout the United States and in Japan. She masters her job skills immediately. Like I said, she was a quick learner. She worked well with other departments within the company, as well as socialized outside of work with many of the employees. Grace began to experience people in her new work environment, the people we call haters. These are the people who tries to dim your light because your job well done is being recognized and honored by upper management, and because you are liked by many of your peers. These people, haters, like to point out your areas of weakness or what they say is your weakness. The haters love to correct Grace's enunciation of words in front of people. Grace decided that she was going to go to community college at night to take basic English courses because she knew that her enunciation of words was not on point because of her lazy tongue. She knew growing up in school that the teacher would often tell her, "Grace, open your mouth and speak clear. Open your mouth and let it come out." But Grace was fine being herself as a kid because the people in her neighborhood was just like her. So she was comfortable. But now that the haters want to point out she has a problem with pronouncing and announcing words clearly, they decided to use it to tear her down. So this in turn causes Grace to go to college at night just to take some English courses because she didn't know what else to do to help herself. It did not matter how many English courses she took, she couldn't seem to change how she pronounced or enounced words. The course did help her improve in her writing, but not in her speaking. Because of the haters, Grace became an introvert. It was her way of hiding. Hiding did not stop the haters, but at least they did not have an audience when correcting her in a derogatory manner. She could not understand the hate people gave so unapologetically. She did not want to become like them. She understood how easy it is to give to others what is consciously deposited into your spirit by them, especially when what is deposited has a significant impact on her. In order to combat the hate given, she became a spiritual person. It wasn't about following a religious denomination with a lot of do's and don'ts. She needed to grow in relationship with God, her creator and savior. The more Grace grew spiritually, the stronger she became. She begins to gain spiritual wisdom and insight. The words her mother spoken to her so many years flash back into her mind. Just because you're poor and black doesn't mean you are dumb and ignorant. Grace thought out loud. Just because I do not enunciate some words correctly doesn't mean I don't know the meaning of the word. I come from people who was kidnapped from their country and brought to a strange land to work as slaves for people of a language different from their own. My people's method of being taught the new language of their slave owners was through the pain of a whip that pierced their skin. Therefore, I would no longer apologize to haters who unapologetically crucify me for speaking Ebonics fluently. So in the words of Michelle Obama, when they go low, I will go high and praise my God for the ability to communicate with my voice. Once Grace changed her mindset and no longer cared about what the haters said about the way she talks, the hate stopped. This helped Grace to realize that the haters use her to gain power and strength. Had she originally declared in her spirit that the haters are a liar from the pits of hell, and had she refused to receive what they were saying about her as truth, the hate would have stopped a long time ago. Rejecting the haters openly It helped Grace. It opened up her eyes to see and to hear that there were a vast number of people who speak unapologetically in the same dialect as herself. She listened to Dr. Phil on TV, frequently used the word y'all in his conversations. To her surprise, so many different cultures of people are enunciating some words using the Ebonics dialect, yet they call it country instead of Ebonics. From this experience, Grace learns that haters who hate with lies are weak and needs the power of the person they are hating on to provide them with strength. So, people, do not empower haters by believing what they say about you. Their lies are out of darkness, and when light is present, darkness will flee. It will vanish, it will disappear. Darkness cannot be in the company of light. So let your light shine before man, so that your Savior will be glorified. Continue to walk in light. God is light. Click the thumbs up and the subscribe button to receive notifications of more articles from the Book of Life. Be blessed. Be safe. Peace.